essentially that this all, has to come from a place of insecurity, that only someone who feels like a loser would invent this impossible game that only they know how to win, right?
Right. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. But would love to know your thoughts on all of this, because that last one, I mean, that's a doozy, and I have to imagine as a father and a husband, you don't feel constantly tested. Maybe you do. I don't know.
No, I don't. And I think that I've had struggles in the past because I would fail these tests, like because I didn't understand them. Or, maybe what tests, I don't know if they were tests or not, but
Right.
I'm blind to the tests. So naturally I'm going to find myself, I guess, failing them. I guess. I don't know. I don't like playing. I don't know that I've ever had those games to be played with me personally. Or if they have, maybe that's why the relationships didn't go places. I don't know, because I did fail the test. And my view is probably that's a good thing. In terms of everything. Yeah, it's to me, this is just it's just more of this, don't apologize for being masculine, be a man, have a graveyard voice, and I mean, essentially be Jack Palance or I don't know, James Bond, and I guess there is, I think that I'm not gonna lie, even as a guy, I mean, there is something there in terms of at least what society has told us being masculine is like, oh, you should do all these things. You should drink whiskey and, black coffee and all of these different things. But to me, I think authenticity is true confidence. If when you can be who you are authentically, then you're naturally confident. You don't need, that to me is the sexiest, most. I want somebody who I want to know who you really are, not the mask you've put up. Whether we're talking romantic, friendship, anything else. And I think what got me so riled up here is because 30 years ago, if I read this, I probably would have believed it to some degree, or certainly pieces of it. And I think that there's a lot of men out there who, think that this is true. And because they start to, and I'm not necessarily talking about incels or anything, like no names, no anything. I think there's a lot of men who truly believe this is what most women want. This is the only way that, this is how you have to be in order to have a relationship. And and I think there are women who probably agree with this as well.
They
And
they're out there.
yeah, and to me that's just sad. Like
Yeah.
I don't judge it. I'm not angry at it. I don't. It's sad because it just keeps us apart,
Right.
and it keeps, it keeps people from. I think what I really hate about it, Reese, is it doesn't allow the divine feminine and the divine masculine to meet,
Yeah.
and it creates a war. It creates a competition, which necessitates a winner and a loser, and that's and not and frankly, I think everybody loses if men and women follow this script. I think it's inauthentic. I think it's sad, and I think it's destructive. So that's my take on it, but I don't judge it,
Yeah.
and I'd love to hear another perspective. What, if you're a woman and you there's parts of this that resonate, I'd love to understand why. I'm not judge it. I mean, there's something there where, but I'd ask, if things do resonate, whether what either gender, whatever the case is, why? Ask yourself, notice that something in here stuck with me. It resonated.
Yeah.
Why? Is it true? Question it, like we did here. And listen, there's some truth in here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with shoes. There's nothing, you should be nice to servers and everybody, frankly. You should treat women and men well. You should be generous as much as you're able to be generous, and not beyond your means. Um,
Right.
apparently, you should have veiny hands. I'm still stuck on that quite clearly.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. It just what comes up for me is like an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, and
Yeah.
in this kind of eye for an eye like game playing, I don't know. It feels so inauthentic, and
It
it's just not
keeps
a world.
us it forces everyone to keep their mask on. And I think neither of us want to live in that world.
Yeah, I choose not
I
to.
did want
I,
to, right, right. I did want to ask though, because you said about 30 years ago that it might resonate. And earlier, like the very top of the episode, um, you said you've like grown past a lot of this, and you're very proud of that. What do you think it is that allowed you to grow past it and that like recognizing that like maybe when you were in a different place that this would have resonated, but now it doesn't? Why do you think that is that that growth happened for you and like how?
I think I more than anything, I mean, I think having a daughter really was a huge piece for me. But also just deconstructing. I mean, a lot of it. I mean, there's a lot of religious beliefs in there, the patriarchy. A lot of. I mean,
Sure.
I I grew up with bad examples. For as men. The men that I was around, by and large, were not what I would consider to be high quality men. Were not good men, whatever that means. Um, and I was very insecure and didn't know who I was. And so I felt very unlovable. I felt very not good enough. I felt very insecure. And so that led to things like this. This led me to say, okay, well, what can I change? I can't be me because that's what the word, that's what I believed. And um and now granted, there wasn't the internet like though, I think just meeting people like yourself, meeting other people that are good examples that don't believe, to see that there's people that don't believe these things. Oh, and by the way, the people who don't believe these things are actually really cool people and great to hang around with, and
Yeah.
the people you want to know and like want to be with and get to know and connect with and have as part of who you know. So I don't know. I guess it's maybe touching grass to some degree, well, is part of the answer. But
Yeah.
I kind of say that tongue in cheek. But I think part of it is age as well. I mean,
Sure.
but but again, just noticing and questioning. I think more than anything else, like why do I believe this?
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to pretend like I'm some angel because I'm not. Like I still. And there's certain things in here that certainly sparked, beliefs I didn't even remember I had, and I had to examine them. And listening to your take on it was very insightful for me, and I hope for listeners as well to see that not everybody, no, this is not a universal truth. This is
Yeah.
somebody's belief. Are there people who this is true for? Yes, but it doesn't have to be, and it isn't the truth.
Yes.
So you have the choice whether you want to make this your truth, and if you do, okay, well, and he sells things to further cement this to be your truth. Go ahead and do that if that's, and I don't judge you for it. I don't think it's the best way. I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the highest. I don't think it leads to fulfillment. But it's a game. If you enjoy playing games, I mean, this is a playbook. You know, it's there. So I think, again, the more secure you are, the less you need this stuff. That's
Right.
that's just the bottom line.
And exactly what I was about to say when you said that, it's a playbook. And I think it is a playbook that is built not only on insecurity, but it's a playbook built to keep people insecure because that's the business model. You need to keep going back, right? So just with every crumb that they give you, it's going to tear you down that much more and tell you that you're actually not a good man. And that's why you need this course. And that's actually not uplifting masculinity at all. It's
No,
telling you as a man that you're not good enough. And that's why you need this course. So I would, yeah, just echo what you're saying in terms of notice. Just notice.
and be honest with yourself. Like what in this have you believed is true, and is it true? Do you choose to continue to believe that it's true? Do you continue to see? Do you see yourself as someone who has to have veiny hands in order to find true love, or you know, uh, uh, you can believe that,
Yeah.
and it'll be true. That's the cool part. I mean, that's the thing that should make you say, that's the thing that gets me excited, is you know what? You want to believe that it's true. Have at it. Like, you want that though. And if you do, good. If you don't, well, know that it isn't true. It doesn't have to be true. And you can choose what you want to believe about women, men, who you are, who everyone is. So choose wisely and choose to your edification and choose to your joy. And none of this sounds joyful. This sounds difficult. Everything
Yeah.
we've read here, other than treating servers well and not being a dick, sounds difficult and challenging. And like you got to work at it. And if
Yeah.
that's what it takes to get the girl, like no, I'm good, thanks. Like fortunately, it isn't. And that's what I would say to every me 25, 30 years ago. Like, no, this is actually bullshit. I mean, full lock, stock, and barrel, most of it. And you don't need to believe this because you're
Yeah.
perfect just the way you are. Be yourself. There's only you. There's no one else that's like you. And every sock, there's a shoe. Um, Multiple shoes, really, but you'll find your shoe and your sock is beautiful just the way it is. And you know don't don't conform, like don't feel the need to do that. I don't know. And I don't know, what would you say to women who maybe believe this? That would be my
Ooh.
advice to men. We'll end on this. What would you
Yeah.
say to women who maybe
Um,
have gotten sucked into this somehow and have lived this?
yeah. Honestly, the same thing. You're you're good enough exactly as you are. And you don't need someone to lead you through hell because you have already walked through it. You did that all on your own. And to continue being the one to tell yourself that you need anything besides yourself is just keeping you small. And everyone, men, women, non binary individuals, every single person deserves to take up as much space as all of us has been given. And there are so many systems out there that want to keep you small. And I want you to feel as big and bold and bright and shine as brightly as possible. Um,
Amen. Now that I can agree with.